Ladies and gentlemen, it is wonderful to see those beautiful smiling faces of yours today. In this video, I want to show you the culmination of my portrait series. And the specific portraits we're going to be looking at today are portraits made by students of mine using this tutorial in my classroom. And these are students from Heritage Elementary School. I have taken out any identifying factors, so it's all anonymous. And for each one of these, both portraits, you'll see two portraits side by side. These were drawn by the same student. The first portrait was drawn in January at the very beginning of the year, where the instructions were simply do your best to draw a portrait. And then the one on the right was made by the same student following the guidelines in my portrait series, with a little bit of help from me in the classroom as needed. So what I want to look at here with each of these is just the wow factor of the growth, right? So the one on the right is by no means perfect, right, where none of us are perfect, but it is so much improved upon from the first one. For example, proportions, looking at where the eyes sit in relation to the nose and the mouth. Here, the face is a little bit more stretched vertically, and in the new one, it is much more appropriately proportioned. The hair in this one is more like a mop sitting on top of the head, whereas here it has volume. Now, obviously, this is sort of an anime hairstyle that sticks way out more than a realistic hairstyle would, but it has volume where there's actually, you could see that there's a cranium, a brain case in the top of the head up here, whereas here it looks like the top of the brain got chopped off. Also, on the left, we have a giraffe neck, and on the right, it's still maybe a little bit longer than it should be, but way more accurate. Also, the shading, I was impressed with this first picture with the sort of indication of a shadow in the background. I think the feet need to be connected, but so I was impressed with the attempt there. But here, the shading is much, much, much improved, much more realistic. Moving on, we're going to jump through a lot of these. I've got about 60 of these. I don't have all of my students, but these were all my fifth graders who finished the second portrait. I had a bunch who didn't quite finish the second portrait. Maybe they finished all of it but the hair. I don't have those ones included here, but all the ones that were finished with the second portrait. Notice, again, we have a giraffe neck. Totally way better here. Also, here the shoulders are like a curve. Here they are flatter and actually have a little bit more shouldery feel instead of just a mound. Very good improvement. On this one, much improved in the shading in particular. Notice how there's a clear definition that the light is shining on the right side with shadows on the left. None of that shading existed at all in the drawing on the left. This is just absolutely beautiful. I think that there needs to be a little bit more shading on the face itself to match the shading of the neck and shoulder here. But oh my goodness, instead of an oval, we actually have, a chin, and, look at the hair again with the cranium. Like here, the hair is just a mop on top of the head. Here, it actually has that volume coming from the forehead to the top of the cranium. The neck and shoulders are much more appropriately sized. She's got the scoop neck or whatever you call that kind of shirt, and then the little dip in the bottom of the neck. Maybe a little bit of more detail could have been done here for the shoulder bones or whatever you call them, the clavicle or whatever it is. But this is absolutely phenomenal. Another gorgeous portrait. Again, looking at the shading in particular on these, like the ones on the left, not a single one of them has any shading whatsoever. Here we have much more three-dimensionality. Notice the shadow on the side of the nose. Notice the shape of the nose actually looks like a nose with nostrils and roundness, whereas it's not just the letter L. And the shape of the mouth, proportions, there's not a huge gap between, like here, it's a humongous gap between the nose and the mouth, and that's totally fixed here. Again, I think the neck might be a little bit long, but as opposed to not having a neck, so, but anyway, shadows, proportions, hair, not just a mop on top of the head, but actually having some volume there. This is much, much improved. Instead of a circle for his head, he's got an actual head-shaped head. Again, chin instead of just a curve at the bottom. Neck here. And again with these shoulders, a lot of students had these shoulders before that were just like a curve straight down. Now they've got that more flattened off along the tops of the shoulders. Much, much improved in the mouth. Like, this is a cute little cartoony mouth. Nothing wrong with that if you're drawing cartoony style. That's totally legit. But here, it's actually looking like lips, which is kind of important. And then the eyes as well, having the eye shape instead of just being circles. Great, great job. Much improvement. In this picture, we had a strong start to begin with. A lot of my students do this right here, where they draw the hair covering up one of the eyes because it's hard to get both eyes drawn correctly. I think this is a wonderful job of getting both eyes drawn. They're not exactly symmetrical, which is fine because no one's eyes in real life are exactly symmetrical. So I am totally fine with that. And I think the shading, like I think the shadows could have been darker, but I like how there's this clear patch of highlight on this side and then the rest of the face in shadow. Very nicely done. Little touch of highlight on that side of the neck too, and on that shoulder. Very nicely done. Beautiful, beautiful job. I think the shoulders could have been a touch wider, but other than that, I really can't nitpick any other details about this portrait right here. Comparing it to the original, again, the first, in this case, was much more cartoony, but it had zero shading. I say that, obviously the hair was shaded in darker, but in terms of actual highlights and shadows, none of that existed on the first portrait. Now this one is a great little cartoony style. I love that cartoony style of that picture, and there is nothing wrong with a cartoon that looks like that or a comic that looks like that. But if we're trying to, the goal of this project was to see what we really see and what people really look like and try to draw a realistic portrait, and this is a much, much improved on that. Now, this person did not finish the first one, but we can definitely see improvement in that neck, not a giraffe or straw. This one almost looks like a straw. It's such a narrow nose. Anyway, the much, much improved. And look at that nice dark shadow on that side. I think we could have pulled a medium shadow into the face a little bit more, but this is fantastic. Nice contrast on that portrait. Again, with the big round circle head and the long, tall giraffe neck, totally fixed both of those issues in this portrait on the right. And again, here we have really dark shadow and everything else bright, pasty white. And I think we could do some more medium values in between, but good on you for getting that high contrast shadow. I gotta give you props for that. And much, much improved in the shapes of the eyes, the shape of the head, the shape of the neck and shoulders. Again, we had those just curved down shoulders. It's like a steep hill plopped straight down. Now here we got actual shoulders coming out. That's good. That's good on you. Look at that rectangle head. That was much improved here, actually looking like the shape of a head. And the nose, compare those noses, way better on the right, way more accurate on the right. This person did not include the neck and shoulders, didn't finish the first portrait, but taking a look at this neck and shoulders area here, with the muscle showing there, the trap muscle showing, and then this nice tall hair coming up. I'm loving this. This is absolutely amazing. And again, with the high contrast between the dark black and the bright white, I do think more could be done with shading here in terms of highlights and shadows, but definitely the fact that there are some darker areas is much improved on this just completely outline drawing. Wow. Yeah, all I can say is wow. This first one's like a circle with a giraffe neck, and again with the droopy, curved, straight down shoulders. Here the shoulders actually come out a little. This one I guess could be flattened off a little bit more, but wow, like you got the chin, you got the shape of the neck, the shape of I think maybe the neck could be a little bit wider, but I'm loving these little hairs hanging down, and instead of just covering up the face completely, it's done tactfully where we've just got little strands of hair coming down and not trying to cover up an eye that we messed up or something like that. So, overall, perfect on the eyes and the nose and the mouth, the proportions, so nice. Now here it looks like they drew the eyes over and over again and kept erasing, and this student was actually confident enough with those eyes to leave them alone and not erase them a million times. Good job. Here we've got another where the original portrait did something interesting because of the conundrum of trying to draw two eyes. It's always easy to draw one eye, but then drawing the second eye is hard because it never matches the first one, right? So this person drew a winky face, which kind of works. But look at those two eyes, the confidence level of actually being able to draw both eyes. I'm loving these freckles on here too. I think they're a little too dark, but hey, good on you for seeing them and putting them in there. Loving this little earring dangling down. Loving the shape of the hair here. And this little bun in the back. I don't think this person finished quite making that fluffy bun in the back, but you can tell that it's there and that it is the intention to have that. Also the shading, where the first one did not have any. And again, this first one is a cartoony kind of style that works in a lot of ways, but for drawing a more lifelike, realistic portrait, this is a much improved project here. Again, with the wow, just wow. I mean, all of these, I just say wow every time I look at these. I'm just amazed. Again, this squat little pumpkin-shaped head with a giant, long giraffe neck. Again, I think the neck is a little bit long here too, but not terrible, not too much. And the proportions of the head, much improved. Like again, we've actually got height to the cranium, we got height to the hairstyle, the volume coming up, and we've got the eyes, nose, and mouth proportional to each other. This is great. Again, just looking at the shape of the head, this one is way too wide. Narrowed that up a bit. I don't think these shoulders quite got finished all the way across, but I'm loving the detail on the shirt with the stripes coming across. I'm loving the shadow on that neck. I think we could have pushed that a little bit more on the top part of the face, but wow, look at those eyes. Those are very expressive eyes. Oh, look, a Minecraft shirt. In this first portrait here, the eyes are a little offset. Like this eye is almost in the middle of the head, and then this eye is a little farther off to the side. And then here, look, the proportion of those eyes, like they're perfect. And then the nose right smack dab between them, the mouth straight underneath that. So much improved there. And the general shape of the head here is a little too boxy, and then we got it much more curved here. Also, the ears are too high. Look at those glasses, like the line from your glasses. If you wear glasses, you know it goes on top of the ears. So the ears need to be pulled down under that line, which you did here. You got those level, the top of the ear level with the eyes. This is so much improved, so much improved. The shading, and oh my goodness, look at that shading. You got the detail of the muscles in the neck. You got the shadow on that side, the highlight on this side. This is great. Maybe a little bit more shadow on this side of the nose would be in order, but wow, just wow. Okay, now, bear with me here. This one is one of those where, you know, some kids, you know, they'll just like, they'll call their artwork a masterpiece because they don't know what the word masterpiece means. And then when they have that word explained to them, they might erase it because they feel bad about, you know, mislabeling something. So this might not be a masterpiece, but comparing it to the first one, we see tremendous improvement in a lot of areas. Look at the shape of the eyes. Look at the shape of the nose. Look at the shape of the mouth. Now the mouth is a little too big on this one, but it's in the right place and it's the right shape. And look at the placement of the shoulders on this one. They're like about 6 inches, 12 inches too low. Like the shoulders, you know, you would expect to be like from right at the base of the neck, but not like coming out of the middle of your side, right? Here, the shoulders actually come at the base of the neck. This is much improved in so many ways, right? So I just, you know, I really, you know, wanted to include this one in this because even though in the end result, you know, we might have had one of those people who was goofing off and trying to call their artwork more than what it really is, they still showed tremendous growth. And growth is what this is all about. This is all about getting better. I don't expect anyone to be perfect. Look at how much this person grew. Now this just cracks me up with these boxers right here. Like, you get this punching glove, the boxing gloves. You got punching Logan Paul in the face or whatever. Anyway, but looking at those muscles like that, that's kind of cool. So anyway, on this person's first portrait, look at how the head and the shoulders are combined together. There's no neck at all. It's like one shape. And now here we've actually got a neck. I think the neck might be a little long and the shoulders might be a little droopy, but overall, I mean, we've actually got the shape of the head separate from the body, which is a huge improvement. And you know, this eye might be a little bit wider open and that one a little bit narrower shut. And the mouth might be a little bit droopy on one side, but looking at the placement and looking at how they're drawn compared to just a line for a mouth with no nose at all, like this is so much improved. And then instead of just like we got a white guy and we got a darker guy, like here we actually have a highlight and shadow on the same face, right? That's what we would see in real life, right? You know, the light's shining on this side, that side's darker. This is much improved. Great job. Okay, now this person grabbed some stencils and had some fun while they were, you know, supposed to be paying attention to something else, but that's okay. Look at how much they improved. I think the shoulders are a little bit, you know, uneven. This one needs to flatten out and come out a little bit further, and this one needs to not come out quite so far. But take a look at that head, that face, comparing it to this one. Now, this one, I like how this person, this artist, this young gentleman was getting the form in instead of, you know, there's different modes, different methods of creating a portrait. And in this case, this one looks much less like they're trying to do outlines and more like they're trying to get the form, which is sort of an advanced concept for, you know, young artists to grasp. But in this case over here, it looks like he grasped that form quite well in terms of shading and in terms of proportions. So looking at those eyes, compared to the rest of the head. Like here, I think the eyes are a little too big for the head and a little too spread apart, whereas here they are just right for compared to the nose, the mouth, the outline of the head, etc., the shape of the head. Great job overall. Moving on. Look at that sideways mouth and that U-shaped nose. And now, oh my gosh, we actually have a nose. Wow. And look again with the ears being higher up than the eyes, like the top of the ear being here. We've actually brought those ears down where they belong. The hair on this feels very smooth. I don't know. It almost looks like this guy is wearing a swimmer's cap, one of those tight hats, or either that or has like, really, really, really short hair. But other than that, I mean, looking at the neck, the muscle showing on the neck and the shoulder, and the detail there, a little bit of shadow on this side. This is phenomenal, and I mean, just look at that. Now, I just want to say I'm gonna skip through the rest of these real quick because I'm, I don't have the time to sit here and talk about all these. Oh my gosh, wow! But there is one thing that blew my mind and should blow your mind too, and that is that every single one of these, I took these pictures on my iPad, and you know how the iPad has, like with the camera, it has like a function where it'll automatically, focus on a face, right? And so with every one of these, the iPad recognized the portrait on the right as a face. It didn't recognize the one on the left as a face, but it recognized the one on the right as a face. And it did that for every one of these. Wow, that's just gorgeous. Look at how beautiful these drawings are. I'm like that, fun little beard here going on, but look at the comparison. Look how the ears poke way out here, and here they actually hug close to the head. Okay, this is a really wide neck, but that just makes this dude look really muscular, especially since we got all these lines going on where the muscles kind of, Anyway, this so much improvement. And again, none of these are perfect, but wow, they are amazing. There's so much growth. And these are 5th graders. These are 12-year-olds. 5th graders, right? 5th grade. And anyway, as I was saying about my iPad, I'll show you in just a second how my iPad would autofocus on the portrait as if it were a real face. That's just amazing. So here's my little demonstration of that. This is my iPad screen capturing. I did a screen capture of the, the camera app that shows how, there's, you see the square, the yellow square where it autofocuses. That yellow square going around that face on the right, that's showing that my iPad thought that was a person. My iPad thought that was a person right there, and it automatically focused on it, right? You can see, you can see it auto-focusing there on that portrait, like it's an actual person. And then sometimes there's a square in the middle. That's when it's just focusing in the middle, and then boom, it's auto-focusing on that portrait, focusing on that portrait. You can see the box following the portraits. So my iPad doesn't know the difference between these portraits drawn by 12-year-olds and pictures of real people. Anyway, I just thought that was totally awesome. I'm going to finish up by just showing a few more of these and just applauding and just wowing and just oohing and ahhing and oh my godding, because these are just absolutely amazing. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so there's no color. We didn't do color when we worked on these portraits here, but, they did on the first one if they wanted to. Now, just look at how wide that head is and how short it is vertically, and then look at how this like actually looks like the shape of a head. Now, I still think these shoulders, I don't know. Maybe they're perfect. Maybe they could be a little bit wider. I think it's the neck. I think the whole neck and shoulders could be just a tiny bit wider. But, oh my God, look at how, like, she got the details of those flowers on the shirt. She's got the details of, like, a coat hanging over that shirt. She's got the pigtails on both sides. She's got the little part in the hair. She's got it a little darker on that side, the highlights on the hair. All these details. This was a 5th grader. This is a 12-year-old. Just wow. Just, oh, wow. Okay, all of these, wow. Oh my goodness, just wow. Just blows my mind. It blows my mind to see the growth from that to that. Like there's the shape of a head, there's the neck and the shoulders included there, the hair, it actually feels 3-dimensional, like it's part of the portrait instead of like a halo behind the portrait. It's like, wow. Wow, and look at that little braid coming down. And then, look, she even included a necklace. Oh, man, look at that. Look at that. Now, this one, I had to crop the bottom off because he signed his artwork, and I didn't want to include names. I didn't want to include any identifying factors. The amount of attention to detail that this student included, just amazing. Just amazing. Okay, again, when asked to draw a picture of a person, draw a portrait, this person drew a cookie wearing glasses, a chocolate chip cookie wearing glasses. And now she actually had the confidence to draw a face, right? It may not be perfect, but it's way better than tracing a circle and drawing eyes and a mouth on it, right? This is way better than a circle. Like, your head's not a circle. You know that, right? Right. This is so much improvement. So much wow. Just amazing. Anyway, that is all for today. I just wanted you to see the before and after. And as we finish up our school year this year, these are 5th graders who are going to be going to middle school next year. And I just had to say, you guys who drew these pictures, if you can go from that to that, if you can go from a traced circle to an actual head, if you can do that, and just it like took us a month and a half to figure out how all of that worked, and that was with only like 30 minutes a week. Like, if you can do that in that amount of time, you can do anything. As you guys move on to middle school, I just want you to know that if you can accomplish this, if you can go from that face to that face, if you can go from that face to that face, you can do anything. There's no stopping you. You are powerful. You are amazing. You are incredible. You are wonderful. I'm going to miss you guys like crazy. You got to come back to Heritage to say hi to me sometime. I have missed you all during this crazy coronavirus conundrum, and I am going to continue missing you, and you guys have to come back and say hi to me sometime. I love you all. You're amazing. Don't ever let anyone tell you you're not. And I'm going to end it right there on that one because, wow!